Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another game I played on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online from Bad Deck Monday. And this time we're going to be running Scolipede, a new deck that actually Drew Holton gave me the idea for. And we're going to run it here and see what happens as my opponent smudge2005 opens with a full art Landorus EX. So what is the point of the Scolipede deck? Well, if you don't know what the Scolipede line's ability does, it's called Poison Point. When a Pokemon attacks it for damage, they instantly become poisoned. So when you combine this with Burbank City Gym, it's actually kind of a powerful combination. I mean, you punish them for attacking you, basically, by poisoning them, and they automatically take 30 because of the Burbank, and that means it's going to automatically turn into 60 because it's going to go back into their turn. So you use this to your advantage. I also play cards like Giratina, a Plasma one that has Hex, which does 50 plus 50 if the defending Pokemon has a special condition. I had to play a Chorus there for 3 cards as it's very scary, but ended up paying off. And I got a Juniper off of that. I put an energy on the Giratina just preparing for a Hex next turn. But this Venipede works very well with the Whirlipede from Black and White, which has the attack Venoshock. For 1 Psychic, it does 10, plus 60 if the defending Pokemon is poisoned. So not only does that work well with Burbank, with the ability Poison Point, but it also works well with Hypnotoxic Laser, being able to just go Laser, Venoshock, and hit your opponent for 70, plus Poison, for 1 energy out of nowhere. This is especially good against Mewtwo EX, who is weak to Psychic, so you can actually hit for 140 with Venoshock, and then the Poison will actually finish him off for 1 energy on a Whirlipede. Let that sink in. Whirlipede for 1 energy knocks out a Mewtwo in 1 hit. So that is kind of the goal of this deck. Just use Poison to your advantage. See if you can pull something off. And I don't know. Just go from there. So Landorus is being kind of annoying. Hitting all my stuff for 30 with Hammerhead. But you know, he's already built up 60 and now it'll be 90 damage from Poison alone. I haven't even done anything and he's got 90 damage on him. How weird is that? So here I'm going to have to waste a Laser, which is not that great, but, you know, I'll take it in order to be able to Juniper. So I'm going to play it just to see if I can put him to sleep at the very least. And then Juniper. And what do you know? We got both Whirlipede and a switch and a double colorless, so I can switch into Giratina, attach that double colorless, and I can evolve one of my Venipedes into Whirlipede. I decided to go with the one with 30 on it, because you know I really don't want to evolve the one with 60 on it. I do want to attack with this thing at some point. Then we're going to Hex for 100, take that Landorus, Giratina 1, Landorus 0. That is the score in this game right now. And technically it's Giratina 2, Landorus 0, since we got 2 prizes off that Landorus EX. Now my opponent benches a Mewtwo, and at this point I am licking my chops, because that is exactly what I want to see. I want to see Psychic weak Pokemon, I want to see more Mewtwo's, because I know those are the easiest things I can possibly knock out with this deck. I am limited by how much damage I do based on how many lasers I have left, and how often I can poison my opponent. And if I can knock out EXs for just 1 laser, that is huge. My hand is not the greatest, but I do have a Dowsing Machine. He's going to catcher up that Whirlipede. Not too sure why he's going after that. I guess he's going to laser it. That is pretty annoying, I'll give him that much. And yeah, I'm not sure where this is going to go from here. I guess he just didn't want to rely on drawing a switch and a double colorless for his Mewtwo. I guess he just didn't want to go that route. So here we have an Ultra Ball for another Landorus. That could be pretty annoying if he gets a switch in a fighting, but it looks like nope, that did not happen. And now it's going to be up to me to pull something off here. Now I do have an Ultra Ball, which can get me a Scolipede, which will allow me to, you know, prevent myself from being knocked out. I decide to Dowsing Machine and get a Juniper with this, or a switch. Juniper is the better long-term plan here. I also have an Ultra Ball. I don't know if I want to use the laser or use Ultra Ball and then get an attachment off. Or I can use Laser, attach, and then kind of hope for a switch. Not sure what the best route is here, actually. It's very confusing. I decided to Ultra Ball away the 2 energy and then go for Scolipede, I think. Scolipede is a really big Pokemon, actually. Really bulky. 150 hit points. Really nice. And it also has the Poison Point ability. So you can evolve into that. And then I also play Celebi EX, which allows me to use Venoshock from the Whirlipede. So if they attack into Scolipede, odds are it really doesn't get knocked out because it's got 150 hit points. And then you can just go, no. I'm going to copy Venoshock. And just like that, you can knock out a lot of stuff, a lot of EXs. Or at the very least, trade efficiently for 1 energy. Just using Venoshock. Which turns out to be very powerful when Burbank City Gym is in play. So I actually make a bit of a mistake here. I thought that Venoshock did more damage than it actually did. For some reason, I thought it did 90 at this point. So I was like, oh, I'll knock out Bouffalant with the poison. But that's not what happened. It did 50 and then 30 from poison. So a bit of an oops on my behalf there. But I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. Because, well, I kind of want Scolipede up there to be a big wall. What does my opponent do here? You know, he can't really do much. You know, if he can switch, what is he going to switch into? If he switches into Mewtwo, then it just kind of gets poisoned and then knocked out by Giratina. If he switches into, I don't know, Landorus, does 30, then he gets poisoned, he gets hit for 70. With Venoshock, there's really not a great option for him here. But I guess there's always Laser. That is a good option. But he doesn't draw a switch, so he has to pass, and then Bouffalant gets knocked out. And now, Scolipede is on the offensive here, guys. I don't know what else to say. Now I'm going to switch into Giratina just so that my Scolipede doesn't get knocked out by poison. Kind of annoying that I have to do this, but not the end of the world. I believe I have a catcher in hand and a Hypnotoxic Laser, so I can use that to catcher up Mewtwo and take 2 prizes here, go down to 1 prize. It's a scary idea since you could be N down to 1, and you kind of need Laser to really do anything with this deck. But we're still going to do it. Why not? Going to take the risk with the Scolipede deck here. Still have a lot of cards left in my deck, and 3 lasers down. That is really bad. And a Dowsing Machine down. So I decided to Juniper. I really need to draw through cards here. Really get that last laser. And I actually do draw it, which is pretty surprising. But I'm also going to draw an Ultra Ball, which will allow me to discard 2 Ns in case my opponent plays an N against me. That's going to help out big time. So I'm going to Ultra Ball here. I could grab another Whirlipede, or I'm actually going to go for a Mewtwo, just to give myself more options to knock him out if he decides to attack with a Mewtwo. If he decides to respond with his own Mewtwo next turn. And then I go for a Hex for 200, knocking out his Mewtwo. So Giratina is pretty good against Mewtwo, and so is Whirlipede for some reason. This deck is actually the biggest Mewtwo counter deck in the world, probably. But it doesn't really deal with anything else too well. So now my opponent promotes another Mewtwo, and I'm like, alright, we got this. I mean, I got a Laser, I got Scolipede, I got another Whirlipede behind that. Mewtwo is easy to take the last prize on, even if he ends me. I'm feeling pretty good about my position here. Now, I forgot to attach last turn. I think I probably should have attached to my Mewtwo. I was probably afraid of a catcher and then him knocking out my Mewtwo with his, but I mean, I don't actually care about that at this point. He will play a Laser, though, on my Giratina, which will actually doesn't really affect anything. If he has a double colorless, he could X-Ball regardless. But it looks like he's attaching to Landorus instead. So maybe he has a switch. I'm not sure. He plays a Skyla, and he must have a switch. I'm not sure why he promoted Mewtwo there. Maybe just in case he top-decked a double colorless. Maybe he had the Skyla anyway. But he will be able to Hammerhead here. Now he gets heads on the Laser flip, which is honestly the most annoying thing in the format. Laser is powerful enough, but when it puts you to sleep, just makes you want to punch your keyboard. So especially if you stay asleep, because it can just ruin your whole turn. And look, I stayed asleep. Oh, that is actually really frustrating. If I woke up there, who knows, I'd probably just win the game outright. But, nope, I stayed asleep, and now I just gotta sit here and wait. Now I do have a double colorless. I'm gonna attach that this turn, because why not? Might as well put it on Mewtwo, I think, just to give myself a better option next turn. I'm deciding whether or not I want to play my Bianca here. I decided to do it. I mean, I'm gonna force him to have the N, not just kind of live in fear of him having it. And I am up 5 prizes here, so I do have a little bit of leeway. But at the same time, it's still kind of scary if you get N to 1. Lots of stuff can happen, considering he can Hammerhead, knock out the active, hit the Scolipede, take 2 prizes. And if he Hammerheads again, he can knock out the Whirlipede. And then all of a sudden, I got Mewtwo, which is kind of fragile. Celebi, which is really fragile. And he could easily make a comeback in this kind of a situation if he plays an N and puts me down to 1 card. But if he doesn't play an N, well, I actually just win the game next turn. So I am looking forward to that. And he plays a Juniper, so I think we have pulled this one off. As long as there's no fancy stuff like an Eviolite on his bench Mewtwo, I think we got this one. I think we can pull this off with Scolipede, Giratina, and Celebi. I guess Mewtwo's coming along for the ride too, but let's be honest, this was all Giratina and Scolipede so far. Now he will Hammerhead, knock out the Giratina and my other Scolipede, and now, alright, we got the cards in hand. I can catch her up as Mewtwo, and this is exactly what I was talking about before. Whirlipede is actually really good against Mewtwo. I'm going to Laser, Poison the Mewtwo. That will allow me to use Celebi to use Whirlipede's Venoshock for 140 plus 30 from the Poison and Burbank. So there you go. Scolipede might not be a bad deck. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it can compete. So, thanks guys for watching. I am Pooka here from the Top Cut. Hope you guys enjoyed that match, and I will see you guys next time.